Hello, I am Gabriel Isu and welcome to GabLab. Thank you for joining me on my first video. Hopefully there's more to come. And I'll break this video into two parts just to keep it short and simple. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So for today, we will be recreating the Google Material Design text field component. So just this whole interaction where um, you see you click on the input field, the label animates upwards, gets smaller. You have an underline animating at the bottom. That's this first one here. And yeah, let's just try and make it up and it should be fun. Let's go. So for today, I'll be using CodePen.io as my text editor. So you could check it out, www.codepen.io. It's really cool for quick tasks like this, and yeah, you could always share your links with other people to check it out. So yeah, our first element on the page is going to be our input field, text field, obviously, and yeah, that we have that there. Let's just give it a class name of text field, I guess, and just close the JavaScript aspect a bit, and yeah. Just give it some basic styling. Give it a padding of 10 pixels. Yeah. Let's get rid of this outline. This outline is a browser styling, so most browsers just do that by default. So, but once get rid of that, set outline to 0. Yeah. Okay, might want to increase the font size a bit so we can all see what's going on. Let's just say the font size should be 16 pixels. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. And yeah, we have that. So if we go back to the material design video again, you can see that we have our label inside our text field name. One way you could do that with HTML is to use the placeholder attribute. And we could just say maybe ours is full name, and once you do that, you can see, yeah, it appears there once we start typing this out. Okay, and yeah, I think we have our basic input and our placeholder there. So let's see how we will be able to manipulate the placeholder to animate like the material design where it goes up and reduces in scale once you click on it. And doing that, we were going to run into a little challenge. So the placeholder is a pseudo element, and pseudo elements are basically, yeah, what pseudo elements mean. It is not an actual element. It's probably an extension of another element on the page. It is not an element in itself. Is added, is appended by the browser, basically. And you can see the placeholder is just an attribute on the input field, which is the main element. There's no an element. There's no I don't know, placeholder element on its own. So we'll now realize that some of our styling or some of the things we could manipulate on the placeholder are limited. I could change the color easily, red. What if I want to change the position, like what the material design has when it moves up? Set the position as absolute. You could set the top, I don't know, let's just make it move 100 pixels down. See, it's not working. Left 1000 or 1 million pixels, still not working. So we're very limited in what we can do with the placeholder. So straight off the bat, we know that that is not going to work for us. So delete those. Get rid of this. So what we're going to do is just going to try and fake it, and we'll just use a label. Just get rid of this for we don't need this for now. So yeah, we're just making this stuff, we're not necessarily following good practices per se, we're just trying to make this fun, just get it to work, look and feel like the, at least almost like the original thing. So yeah, so our label, yeah, will be full name again. You can see that should appear beside text field. And what we want to do is, since we want our full name to be directly on top of our text field, we're just trying to simulate the placeholder effect. So we're just going to try and position this directly on top of this or inside this. Okay, and so what, for us to be able to position, let's give our class label. So for us to be able to position our label, we need to put it in a container or something. We'll just call it a form for now, and the form needs to have an attribute, or sorry, a CSS attribute of relative, basically. So then when we position this, is going to be position relative to the position of our form, so that way we can keep everything nice and clean in the same container. So we could go select our CSS, select form class, give it a position of relative, nothing should change. Okay, then we could select our label class inside our form. I could set the position to absolute. So as you can see, immediately it position absolute, so it just positions at the top left corner of the page. Then we can just define where we want it to go. And since our label, our input field, sorry, our text field is not position absolute, it just goes on and starts at the same point too, because this doesn't exist again to the input field, so that's why the full name label doesn't appear beside again. We can, since we gave it a padding of 10 pixels, our text field padding of 10 pixels, so that means maybe we want our label to be 10 pixels from the top, so it looks as if it's just positioned text that's inside, and then left, so since our padding is 10 pixels all around left, we'll have a position of left 10 pixels, sorry. So you can see that looks good. If I click on the input field, you can still see our cursor blinking there, and yeah, so that's good for now. So to go back to what we did with the placeholder again, if I move this, let me just give the form a margin top of 50 pixels, so there'll be space for us to see if our label moves to the top. So if I give my label a top parameter of let's negative 20 pixels, I think you can see, boom, it's moved upwards, and that's what we want. Okay, and yeah, that's already looking good. So let's just leave it as is, 10 pixels for now. Okay, so the next thing is to simulate the interaction, to simulate, okay, what happens when we click on our text input, when we click on it, we want this to move upwards, and we're going to do that using JavaScript. So using JavaScript we can manipulate the DOM. Okay, so first thing first, we could do is we could say our label, we want to have a class called isActive. Create a class for that. So when it's active, once it's clicked, we'll toggle this isActive class, and it's isActive class, we'll just give it that negative top value for it to move upwards, minus 20 pixels. So yeah, I think we're done with the CSS for now. We can close this and we can move into JavaScript. So so what we're going to do is we're going to use create variables for our elements, our two elements on the page, our label and our text field. Okay, and we're going to say let text field is equal to document the query selector. So we're trying to select a class called text field, so we start with dot text field for class. If you're on IDE, it would be the hash key, yes, semicolon. So we have, what's happening, JavaScript is going to check through our page, our DOM element, our HTML document, and look for any element that has a class of text field, and it's just going to save it in this variable text field we have created. It could be anything you want. We'll do the same thing again to select our label. Alright, so changes to label document is query selector. So this would go through the page, look for an element with class of label, which is this, and yeah, save it in a variable called label. So now we have that, we are going to add an event listener to our text field. So we use event listeners to know basically when an event or something has happened on a particular element that we attach it to. So what we just want to know is this input field. Okay, if there is an event for us to know when it has been, selected or clicked on or active or whatever. So if we get that, we can know that we can now know to animate or to change the position of our label so you can get out of the way upwards. Okay, so the event to handle that is called focus. So we can say text field. This is the variable we created here. We're adding our event listener. So okay, when this event happens, then you can do this and create a function that you can run. Add event is listener. Event we're trying to listen for, like I said, is the focus, and then it can run this function. Okay. I'm assuming most of us have at least basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm not really going in depth. This is just trying to use the little knowledge we have to get things to work. Okay, and just to check we have everything set up properly, we can do a console log. I have been focused. So what we expect is we have added a focus event on our text field. So we expect once it's focused on our console, should just drop us a message saying I have been focused. Okay, on CodePen, we come to the bottom left corner, we can see our console there. We can break that up, and let's click right here on our text field, and you can see, yeah, I have been focused. So that works. So yeah, we can clear our console and close it, and you can get rid of console log. So what we're trying to do is, like we did in our CSS, we created an active class for our label, right? What we have to do is, that is our expected behavior. We want it by the time you're focused on, we want our label to now have this class of is active, and this class is going to change the position to -20 pixels. Okay, so let's do that now. We would say, okay, text field has been focused on, then our label class list. So class list is going to basically just checking out the classes on a particular element. Class list dot add. So we just want to add to our classes basically. So it already has a class of label, so we want to add an is active, for example. Dot add is active. Hopefully this works. Yeah, so let's see. Boom. Okay, it's pretty cool. Oh, mistake. All right. So you can see we clicked on it and it just moved our stuff 20 pixels, negative 20 pixels to the top. That's really cool. So one thing we can now realize is that, okay, once we click out, it's not coming back into position. So the opposite of focus is blur. Okay, so we can now just copy this event listener. So add another event listener again for our text field, blur. So blur just means once it's no longer in focus, once it's, let's say I click somewhere out, we want trigger another function. So for that, I just want to remove this class is active. Okay, so we can see once you click in, it moves up. Once you come out, it comes back down. Pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, I think we have our first part of our video. We already have the first part of the behavior we want. So in the next video, we'll just cover styling it and yeah, animating it using CSS transitions. Okay guys, thank you and see you in the next video.